Joe presents Liquid Football, sponsored by Paddy Power.
Hello, welcome to Liquid Football on Joe together with Paddy Power. It's the show that takes you on the team bus and puts you in the boots of the players. Alongside me this week, John Walters and Wayne Bridge. There's nowhere else to start other than Norwich beating Manchester City. I mean, just nobody saw that coming.
Unbelievable result, wasn't it? To be fair, though, Norwich are at home.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Don't pretend you were tipping.
I think people were going for City to carry on the season, like similar to the way they finished last season, unbeaten all the way through. Liverpool have got a 5-point lead now. No one could have saw it, but I've played in games like that where you play a big team at home. The atmosphere is all there. Everyone seems to raise the game. You just seem to be that little.
More switched on, I'd probably
mentally switched on. I think when you play a bigger team, you've played for them, so you know the other side of it. When you play a bigger team, when you're the underdog, I think you know if you make a mistake in your own half, generally it's a goal. You give it away, or it's a bad mistake, it'll turn into a goal. Everyone's switched on, everyone's at it, and I used to love those games. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, and also that thing of coming up from the Championship. Yeah, they had a great season last time round, but they beat the best side in the Premier League at the moment because they are the champions, and they beat one of the best sides in Europe as well. Does it change the way they will think about other teams coming to play them now?
They'll all have a spring in their step all week. Just be so happy with the result. I've been at Southampton where we've beaten the likes of Chelsea before. You know, you want to win, but you're not expected to. And you do have a spring in your step for a week, but I'm one of them people that on to the next game and, you know, maybe have a pint after the game to celebrate. But I think I would just be looking forward to the next game and going, we aren't going to go on an amazing unbeaten run because that's not us. That wasn't us at the time. Obviously different at Chelsea. You just expect to win every week. You go out thinking you're going to win. So it's very different scenarios for both teams, but that they will be buzzing. The fans will be buzzing, but they'll be expecting to win next week. But who knows?
Yeah, to be fair, I think when teams first come up, every game's like a cup final. But at home, it's just that little bit different. We used to have one against Arsenal at home. I don't think I ever played at the Britannia when they beat us at home. But away was a different story. When you go at the Emirates, it was backs against the wall all the time. But at home, there was a build up to the week. There's more media involvement for a smaller club, so to say. It always seemed to be on Sky, so you'd have more. It was just the build of the week. Everyone knew what was coming, and the atmosphere in the stadium was brilliant, and it does make a difference. And then you could see the players that, especially at Stoke, similar at Burnley to a certain extent, but especially you knew in the tunnel before the game. You knew some players. We had one at half time. We were beating Tottenham, and I remember Kyle Walker coming off, and I think he was saying to Aaron Lennon, he was just like, we were beating them 2-0, and we weren't playing great football, but you've got to find a weakness in a big team. You've got to find where they're weak, whether it would be a ball behind the left back, the right back. You pick on if the player's a weak link, everyone will pick on that player, sort of thing. Every ball will be directed towards him. So I think we were winning 2-0 at half time, and he's come off and walking in front of me, and he's just saying to Aaron Lennon, just gone, these are a dead team, literally. But I think it was me and Crouchy coming off, and we were just laughing because we were like, brilliant, we've got them, like we're winning 2-0. They just don't want to play, they don't want the atmosphere, the wind, everything about it. Everyone hated, and it was
horrible
special
for everyone going to that
it was
stadium.
Horrible,
It's horrible.
It's horrible to play in at the wind. You never knew which direction the wind was coming in, but especially the big games, the fans were brilliant, and it was a special atmosphere to play in,
But they'll feel now that they've properly got their feet. I mean, they already had their first win of the season, but to beat Manchester City, they'll feel now they've properly got their feet under the table in the Premier League, because there's lots of young players in there who haven't played in the Premier League before. Now they've shown they know what it's all about.
They've all got enough ability in the team. They can score goals. But I do look at it and think, Man City was sloppy. They were sloppy. But they just can't get too excited. They're definitely a good team. And I just think they've just got to take one step at a time now. Don't start thinking we're going to win every game.
But from City's point of view, I mean, John was saying about, targeting any weakness that you can find. It's so hard to try and find a weakness in Man City. But would you now be looking at Otamendi and thinking...
Oh, 100%, yeah. The way he got caught on the ball as well.
I can't see him making that mistake again.
No. But next time he gets in that position...
than anything else he'd be doing it, yeah.
Next time he gets it in that position, someone's closing him down. He'll think, so they will... Teams will say, right, let him have it now, and everyone pile in and close down. But obviously, he's done it all last year. It's nothing new to him. He just got caught on it. But the Norwich players, they'll be on a high now, and I think it's up to the manager and the coaching staff. He'll know his players anyway, but you get players that will get carried away once you start because beating the bigger teams, and you've got to realise that we almost treated them like free games. You win, lose or draw. It was the teams that are around you that were the main ones to get the result from, and it was really everyone from 6 below. Everyone they're going to be in the mix with you really. If you're a lesser team, and the top teams was just a free hit, and if you got any result off them, then great.
But for someone like Teemu Pukki, who had such a good game, scored in that win against Manchester City. And I know he's been at Celtic. He talked about like the atmosphere at Celtic Park, and kind of he's like, but this is as good as anything. That match itself at Carrow Road, he said, this is as good as anything I've played in front of. Certainly the best atmosphere he played at Carrow Road. But for him, having struggled on the pitch at Celtic a bit, for him to come into the Premier League, starts really well, but then to get the goal and to create the goal as well against Manchester City, will that help his own personal confidence? Do you start to adjust where your level is?
Yeah, he's not just been bought in the summer and come to a Premier League team. He's obviously carried on with Norwich last year, and I remember playing him last year for Ipswich when I was on loan, and they were around the same place, and they just went on an unbelievable run, and you never thought they would do that. But obviously they've done so well that year, and that confidence comes in to the Premier League, and the team are all doing the same things. They won't change how they'll play. They'll do the same things. Everyone knows each other. They know he can score. It's just everyone will have that link together. So he's come in, done well, and sometimes players go to clubs and it's not a good fit. Like you say, at Celtic, it might not have been a good fit for him, and for one reason or other, whether the family or anything else, it just doesn't work out. And he's obviously on fire at Norwich, so... Sometimes it happens with players coming up for that first year in the Championship. I think the big test is that second year once you've done a good year.
I suppose what I mean is, like, when you judge yourself as a player, you probably put yourself in a particular bracket, don't you? So he spent time at Celtic, not gone that well, comes to Norwich. I know I'm skipping through his career here, but comes to Norwich, has a great season in the Championship. So you start to think, well, do you know what? This is all going really well for me. Comes into the Premier League, starts as well as he has done. Are you constantly kind of adjusting where you are and where you think you fit?
He's obviously shown he's got the ability, but confidence is a massive thing, and he shouldn't be lacking any confidence from what I've seen. Like, you go out, you don't think about things, you just do things naturally and quicker. If you start doubting yourself, it's when you probably make more mistakes. It just seems like he's playing freely and confidently. He's doing amazing.
Yeah, for me, more mentality is more than 90% for me. The mental side of it, it's talent and ability is very, very small part. I think it's the mental side and that confidence that you'll have to take him through. But you say you always want to play against the best players though. So when he's playing against the bigger teams, he was playing Burnley at the weekend, and he'll probably think, two old-fashioned centre-halves in a way. He'll probably think, I'm going to Burnley away, it's different. But when he's playing against City at home, he'll be thinking, right, I want to test myself against the best players, and that's where I'll put my benchmark. And he's producing at that level, and then international, he's scoring as well. So, I think it'll continue with him this season, the way he's gone.
Yeah, it looks so good for him this season. Talking of confidence and the effect that can have, Arsenal, 2-0 up against Watford, comes back to 2-2. But Granit Xhaka said afterwards, Arsenal were scared. He said nobody wanted the ball. In the end, we were happy to take a point. We didn't show our game in the second half. We were too scared. First of all, what's the reaction of the other players going to be? Would you be happy if one of your teammates was out saying that?
It happens for me.
It happens all the time.
I think that'll just be forgotten about. Is he the captain, Xhaka? Not too sure. So I think in a way you can say that if it was a young lad coming out and saying that, if it was Guendouzi coming out and saying that's a bit different, but sort of respect the player that's been there for a while, that's okay to say. And the thing is, he has a point, because in the game, it happens as well. You might even be 3-0 up and suddenly you can see the goal and you see people just go under, and instead of showing for the ball, they make like pretend runs, and played with plenty of them where they pretend to want the ball and they just hide behind a player. You can't find them, and you're thinking, when you're on the ball, you think, I've got no one to pass to, like what are you meant to do? But people are shouting, but they can shout, but then they sort of they hide in the game. So,
but literally hide
in the game,
actually behind another player.
Yeah.
Have you ever done it?
No, I was sort of, if I give it away, I remember Alex Ferguson, about Steve McManaman, that always stuck with me. I think they played against Liverpool and he had a nightmare of a game, but he kept showing for the ball, he kept giving it away. And I think he tried to sign him on the back of that, saying that he wasn't scared to get the ball. I knew he was a good player, just because he had a bad game, but he kept showing for the ball. So that mental side of it, he wanted the ball no matter who gave it away.
Playing football, not showing for the ball, though, it's like one of the most important things is help someone who's got the ball, someone to pass to. It's crazy that even happens.
I'll tell you the other one as well. When you're 1-0 up, or even when that's happened, 3-0 up and suddenly backs against the wall, someone will go off with an injury. You see it in the games. Watch a game and you'll see 2-0 up or 3-0 up, and then suddenly under the cosh rages, one of the players will go off with an injury, and they won't be injured. They don't fancy this.
Would you call them on it afterwards?
That's up to the manager for me.
Would you not say anything if it was your teammate and you thought
you question
there's nothing wrong with him? Would you say?
You question it a lot because you don't really know. But if it happens 4, 5, 6 times during a year, like players coming off when, say, you're playing a City at home, Tottenham, Man United at home, and you can go through the teams. You're 1-0 up, and then just for half time or just after half time, they'll come off with an injury, almost like my job. I've done the job. I'm 1-0 up, and you know what? This sounds bad. The fans will fall for it. So that player will go off. You'll be backs against the wall. You might get beaten in the game, and chances are you're playing a big team, so it's a good chance you will get beaten in the game. You say, well, he went off, and suddenly, he's missing. Because we missed that play, and it's like, come on. Like, and that happened a lot. That happened a lot with players for me.
Did you have that? Were the players going hiding or players going off with an injury?
I think one player used to be at Southampton as a winger, Fernandez, but he used to get battered a lot by Chris Marsden most of the time and other players, but he just a bit soft sometimes, I think, and he'd hobble off and you think, he's just not enjoying it today. So I get what you mean, but I haven't come across it too much. But
those players kind of just hiding behind their opponents.
They just don't fancy the game, and you think, come on, help the team out a little bit. Because when I was at Southampton, we were doing most of the running because we never had the ball. And once you've got it, you need help when you've got the ball. And when you don't have it, that's when everyone starts shouting at each other and do this, do that. You've got to show it's. And then in the end, we beat games when you're 4-0 down, and it's like it's the worst place to be in.
But
I think as footballers, I think it's easy to blame. Every footballer, I think, points a finger. It's always not your fault, really. I think that's just, it's easier to do, isn't it, anyway? So people blame, but I think when forget the managers, the players on the pitch, you've got to have people that you want to have in that situation, that want the ball. And it's not so much about being mentally tough or being tough on the pitch, like smashing someone or taking someone out or off the ball, anything like that. It's just about when you're getting beat, someone just to show for the ball and hold the ball, or someone just to take 3 or 4 passes and to take it in a tight position. And they're the players you want in your team when it's going like that. Or when you're 2-0 up and your back's against the wall, just a player to go down and waste 5 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes, like with an injury, but they're not really injured. Like they talk about going back to the dark art. You go out when your keeper has it, he throws it out, you get the ball back, you wasted 2 minutes, but it stops that tide of a team coming against you.
You said that the players probably be all right with Xhaka saying it because he's one of the more senior players. Maybe less so if it was Guendouzi, who has had a really good start to the season for Arsenal. However, if Guendouzi's going back into the dressing room, or the rest of the players are going back into the dressing room, and Guendouzi's been giving it 2-1, and they finally draw the game 2-2, would people take the piss?
I think the fans will. I don't think the players will say too much. I don't think. Stupid move, especially
would you not?
2-1. If I was at Chelsea and I'm thinking, we're all right here, then maybe I would. If I was getting a lot of stick from the fans and I had nothing to give back, then maybe. But I do like to think, even sometimes when I've scored, I'm thinking, we're only 1 up. If they go and equalise now, my celebration just looks stupid. Like when I scored against Pompey, we only went 1-0 up, and I was in the fans' faces giving it loads. And I was thinking, please don't let them score. But yeah, it's one of them. It's probably a spur of the moment thing for him, and he just get the piss taken out of him on social media and stuff now.
Yeah, it's going to
like,
be fun
to be
for him,
fair
isn't
though, it's confidence, and you don't want to knock out of him or anything. I'm sure someone will have a way. He probably won't do it again coming off as a sub saying 2-1 to the fans, but he's probably coming off and getting abused by the fans, so I don't mind giving a little bit back.
It's not.
It's
No,
just
it's
that it
not.
stays
It's not
like
about
that.
the fact
Yeah.
that he did it, because we've seen that happen before. But it's more
But
about the fact
what
that
happens.
it's-
I don't think
it's
anyone. I
exactly-
don't think any of the players will say anything.
Yeah.
I had one when I was with Ireland. I didn't play in the game. It was when Ireland had to beat Wales to go through in the qualifiers and in the World Cup qualifiers, and it was away in Wales. And myself and Seamus Coleman were sitting one row behind the dugout, and all game there was just a fan behind us, and he was hammering every single person on the bench. But as a player on the bench, you don't react to the crowd really, because you just don't. You just leave
can't,
it.
yeah.
You
You
can't.
do if you're warming up though and your team scores.
Yeah.
You're getting
So
stick at the
this is
same
what
time.
This is what happened. So he's hammering everyone on the bench, like shouting a certain player, kept shouting him. And when the player turned around, he'd just be like, "You're shit." So I was thinking, "Oh, come on, mate, just leave it alone." He's obviously had a few drinks. It's going on and on. 20 minutes later, and I'm like, "Listen, mate, shut the fuck up. Like, just shut up. You're in my ear." Like, he's constant. And then me and him have a little argument. Stuart comes in, he gets a blame. I'm like laughing to myself, but then we score. James McLean scores, and I jump up and I'm celebrating in front of him, like, yeah, in his face. I turn into that fan,
Inciting
in
the
his
crowd,
face,
that.
yeah, inciting him, and he's going mad. But for the rest of the game, all I could think was, please don't score, because if Wales score, and that's what was going through my head, if Wales score, I'm just going to get battered by this guy behind me and all his mates as well sitting around him.
And you'd have to take it.
But we won 1-0, so it was all right. And in the end, he was just quiet then for the rest of the game, and it was brilliant.
But that's the thing, celebrating too early and go to, especially when it's a fan or something like that, you'd just be...
Everyone does if they're warming up and the team goes in front, though, I think, because when you're warming up down the touchline, you're just getting constant abuse. Stoke was actually probably one of the worst. It was horrible.
Stoke
the
was
fans
the
were
worst,
just
yeah.
on you all the time.
Not just away from no, I'm only joking now. They're all right. I had one where we played. I scored. Would you play for Chelsea then when I scored the own goals? Don't think.
Yeah.
Did you play?
I can't remember if I played, but I remember
I
it.
scored the 2 own goals and missed the penalty, kicked the ball in my face and all that. And I wasn't going to play in the week. We had Crystal Palace in the week in an FA Cup match or League Cup match. Tony Pulis wasn't going to play me, but I think because I had an absolute nightmare against Chelsea, he was like, "You need to get it out of his system." So I played, and all the away fans were just hammering me the whole game, like, scores when he wants, and just all on me. And what could I do? I was just like on the pitch, I could hear it because it wasn't that full of a stadium. But I think I scored the winner, or scored 1 or 2. I think I scored 2 actually. Might have won 2-1, and so that was, I gave it a bit back to them then. So it was all right then, because
But mostly when
we won.
I know we talked about like the sort of more serious side about it a few weeks ago, but actually that do fans sort of take it if they've been hammering you and you turn around and within reason turn around and give them a little bit back? Are they mostly all right about it?
Some will be
No.
right, but some will literally just want to get on the pitch and have it with you.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Like Liverpool fans, like there's always been a thing with me because we always scored against Liverpool, and I'd celebrate quite a lot in front of the fans, but that's because they used to get abused, so I didn't mind it. That was just me giving a bit back. But then you'd walk after the game and you see people like, they want to get on the pitch and absolutely kill it. There's the hatred in some people's eyes, but I found it quite funny. Yeah.
So maybe I phrased that question wrong there. Was everybody all right about it? No, they weren't.
But no,
They didn't
I
like it at
try
all.
and block it out most of the time.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it though. I don't mind, like, if you have a bit of banter with fans. I said on the other show, you could pick a fan out that was abusing you in the crowd, and if something happened in the game, I'd try and find the fan again. I didn't mind that. Quite enjoyed that side of football.
It's one thing to be 2-0 up and to draw the game 2-2. It's another thing if you get to half time in a game and you're 3 or 4 down. We saw it at the weekend. Palace were 4-0 down at half time against Tottenham. All the goals came in the first half in that one, didn't they? Wolves were 3-0 down, eventually lost the game 5-3. Going to the dressing room like that at half time, like, what happens? How do players react? What does the manager do? Do most managers shout? Are they quiet? What happens?
I've been in that situation a few times at Southampton. I think the manager kicks off. I think there's probably only been one manager who, when he kicks off, it's not going off. It's Avram Grant. He's quite a calm guy. Strachan at Southampton used to go crazy. They get their bit out, but then I've been in there with Mourinho before when we were at Wigan, and he's just dragged me off at half time and not said a word to me. And it was like, just because we were shit all first half, I get dragged off and everything's all right. Was
it your fault?
I felt like it was, but it didn't feel like it when I was playing. I just felt
like you played well.
We just didn't play that well. And just like probably with Palace, because they've 4-0 down, but their shape must have gone. There was gaps everywhere, and then they
managers can kill you, can't they?
They can.
They can. So they won't give you a reason. They just say, right, Wayne off, you're on, and you're sitting there in the changing room, and you see, when it happens to the lad, you just think, it's not his fault, but the manager just wants to change it, but he just wants to do it quick. But all the blame, then that lad will feel like he's had all the blame put on him.
And then if you do come back in the second half,
and
there's a better performance,
but it's almost if you get, I don't think that many times I've been in that situation, but it's almost like, look, no more goals, have a bit of pride.
I think that's what it's like. Basically.
That's when players hide as well.
3 or 4. It's like, let's just defend and not concede anymore.
Don't concede anymore, yeah. Or can you win the second half or anything like that?
But that thing about managers saying, can you win the second half? Like, do players not just sit there and go, really matter if we win the second half? We're 4-0 down. If we win the second half 2-0, we're still going to lose the game. Do you take it, or are you sitting there thinking?
I don't think you think you're going to come back into the game.
No.
Maybe if you're like a top team and you're scoring.
I think if it's 3-0
each week.
I think if it's 3-0, I think once you get that goal, just flip that other one we said.
Yeah.
The team go under, no one really wants the ball, and you're on top for a while. And if you have a bit of luck, if it's 3-0, I think you can come back in.
If that game is going that bad and you are falling, you're not even playing good football, it's like, what are we going to do here? I was with Gary Carey yesterday, and he just said we just tightened up and we were just better. But at the first half, he said there was just gaps everywhere.
But you can't, it, like, as fans will know, sometimes you just don't want to come out for the second half. You're thinking, but as players, you've got to go and...
You've got to have a bit of pride about it. You've got to at least run around a lot. Because if you're not...
I think that's what happens more than anything. You just run round more. And I think...
Because if the fans see
you get running around...
That's it. Do you play to the crowd? Do you?
No, play to them, but
if the fans just like... You've let them down in the first half, and it's a bit like, let's just not concede 7 or 6. I'm pretty sure at Southampton we've gone 6 or 7 before. And it's not nice.
Yeah.
If the fans don't see you working hard and you get beat that much, you'll get the brunt of it. So it's not a case of doing it for the fans. That's just a given. But I've been on the other end where you win. It's brilliant when you win at half time that position. Like we had Steven Gerrard's last game for Liverpool. We were winning 5-0 at half time. It was one of them games where everything went in. Everything we hit in the first half went in. And I have friends, we had a box for the family, and I have friends that were all Liverpool fans, and he was a massive Liverpool fan. And he must have thought, I've got tickets to Steven Gerrard's last game, brilliant. And he came to the game with his family, and his little boy, I think, played for Liverpool at the time. And because I was an Everton fan, at half time we win 5-0, and the box was right before the tunnel, and I was just going past waving at the box, and he was devastated. But they came out, and I think it was 6-1 in the end, so it was 1-1 second half, and Gerrard scored. But on the other way, it's brilliant when you're that far in front.
But trying to stay focused, you very rarely get loads of goals in the first half and then have loads of goals in the second. Usually, it all sort of just dies down a bit in the second half.
I think the other team relax a bit more, and they kind of just pass it around, and fans are cheering on every pass and just rubbing it in the other team's face, really.
Yeah.
But that sense of being like 3 or 4-0 down at half time and just thinking,
no, you just want the game
how
to
are you
be
going
over.
to get it? Yeah.
We'll take 4-0 now. Can we just go?
Do you think, you talked about the fact that when you go out in the second half, you're thinking, well, we let the fans down in the first half. We need to give them something in the second half. Do you feel that? Do you feel like you've got a responsibility to the fans?
I think so, because otherwise the fans would just be on your case the whole time. They'll be on your case the next week. You'll be getting battered all week in the press. So I think you do want to go out there and show a little bit of fight.
Tell you, I remembered one now. I came on as a sub in the Euros 2012 against Spain. I think we were getting beat 4-0 or 3-0.
That's the worst coming on.
I came on, honestly, I don't think it might have touched the ball off a header or might have won a free, and that's for half an hour. I couldn't get near the ball, and it was like the Spanish team, Iniesta, Xavi, Torres, Ramos. Plus, it was ridiculous. I couldn't get near the ball. That's probably the best team I've ever played against. And to come on at 3-0 down there, just playing keep ball with it, like I was thinking, when you put yourself at a benchmark and you want to test yourself, I was just thinking, I'm
You
terrible
can't
here.
stop running after the ball once they're doing it either, because
No.
otherwise you look so bad.
Yeah, so I was just running around. I couldn't get anywhere near the ball. And then when you win the ball back, you're so tired. The lads just kept booting the ball back and giving it back to them. So it was
And then
literally...
that's when you start shouting at each other, stop giving the ball away.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, I can imagine. I bet that was. Top 4 finish in the Premier League. The Paddy Power odds: Liverpool 100-1 on, Tottenham 2-1 on, Arsenal at evens, and then it's Man United at 13-10, Chelsea 9-5, Leicester 10-1. I think Leicester could have done themselves a big favour if they managed to beat Manchester United. In terms of, you talk about players judging themselves about where they are. Once you play a team, you can kind of assess where you are really in
And a
terms
few
of the
injuries
standard.
as well, didn't they? It's early on in the season yet. Obviously, Chelsea I've been impressed with Chelsea this year with the way they've gone. I was worried for them, for the young kids.
All academy players that have
That's
scored
brilliant.
all 11
That's
goals.
brilliant, and I think that's what a club should be like. Bring it. I know it's circumstance the way it's happened. That's brilliant. I really like that. And I said earlier on, I was really worried about their centre halves and who would score the goals. And Abraham's been on fire. And similar to Pookie, if you can carry that on all the way through, I think as a neutral, you enjoy watching that. You enjoy watching a team that brings young players through, because I think it seems a lot more. It means a lot more to them than a season pro for me.
Man City obviously not in that, because I think Paddy Power is so sure that they're going to finish
Guaranteed
in the
top
top 2 that it's going to. So Liverpool 100-1. So Tottenham odds on to finish in the top 4 as well. Is it about that 4th place then? And have Leicester put themselves in that conversation, do you think?
It's just so early. I feel like in the league at the moment, you take Liverpool. I know Norwich just beat Man City, but I just feel like anyone could beat anyone. I feel like Norwich have proved they beat Man City. They could go on and beat one of the others now. So it's I think it's just too early. But they've definitely got a chance.
I like it when there's so many options, because that means everyone's like
that's what I
Norwich
mean, it's
winning.
more
That's good. It's
exciting.
not just it's better for everyone. That's
every
why the Premier
result,
League's so
every
good.
result counts, doesn't it? It
that's
doesn't
why,
feel like any of them are dead.
'Cause everyone would have written Norwich off before the season. Would have put them in the bottom 3. Everyone outside of Norwich. So to go and beat Man City, that best team in Europe or best team in the world, possibly or close to club team, and then Norwich beat them. That shows you how good that's why the Premier League's so good. It's brilliant.
You just can't
No, you
predict
can't call
what's
it.
going to happen. You think you can, and then as we've shown with the bets, you can't. Here's the moment you've been waiting for. It's the Paddy Power Challenge. You get a chance to win £250 for the charity of your choice and a £250 bet if you want to add to it. But of course, you have to win the bet if you want to be able to get that money for the charity. Last week, when we had the mystery player on the phone, Steve Sidwell won it. He bet on Leicester to beat Manchester United. They were 4-1. And then lost that by a goal to 0. I'm not sure, having only seen the highlights of the game, didn't even look as close as people were predicting.
Do you know what? I think Rodgers is a big part of why they're predicted to do so well this year, because he went close with Liverpool to win the league, didn't he? And I think it'll take time. He's only just gone in. It'll take time with them. They've got good players, but it's a Premier League, isn't it? It's one of those where anyone can beat anyone. So... But the bets, we're not choosing the odds on. Remember, we're choosing the ones that are.
You've got to make it worthwhile.
We're making it worthwhile, aren't we? So
I was going to say anyone could predict Man City to win, but like you said, it's the Premier League. Maybe that's the way forward. It's just the odds aren't very good on it. Last week we asked John and Steve to see if they could guess the mystery voice. So this week we've asked John and Wayne to see if they could guess the player that they've played by, judging from their career paths. We're going to show them the badges of all the clubs they've played for and see if they can guess who that player is.
Didier Drogba! Get in!
Correct
That's someone
answer.
else!
Here we go then. Time for the Paddy Power Challenge. It's been fun.
I like the Paddy Power
I
Challenge.
always like these.
One out of one for
Unfortunately,
me.
it's been fun, and to a degree, it's been successful. However, the betting has been appalling. So to try,
we're raising money for charity, aren't we?
Well, technically, you're getting your £250. We're not raising any more because you're not winning any of the bets.
Right.
So to add a sort of and more of an element of jeopardy, maybe to focus your mind a bit more on your bets, we're now going to introduce a forfeit as well.
I hate punishment.
Oh, see, we've had...
It's not supposed to be pleasant. That's not the point
It's
of
like
it.
going back to being at the club again.
What, did you have forfeits then?
Forfeits at the club, yeah. Do you
What
have
for?
forfeits? Do you have stuff at the clubs?
Flicking.
Ear flicks.
Yeah, ear flicks. I
Right.
think most teams do it though.
We used to have, on a Friday, you had a shooting competition. The last one was Red Horse. So that one person would go in optional whether you put shorter down or not, and everyone would take shots from 18 yards. Not a lot of people to hit you, but everyone would take shots from 18 yards.
You only need one, don't you?
Yeah, you only need one.
Penalty spot at Southampton.
Penalty spot.
Yeah.
But then ear flicks got in at Stoke, and I've brought that round to Ireland and to Burnley as well, and it wasn't just light ear flicks, it was full on try and get some blood in their ears. As it's a group of, say, 8-10 lads, it was every morning, you play for hours as well, so as it's a group of 8-10 lads, it'll turn into a flick to a punch or a flick and then start hit all around the head. So by the end, some lads will look like they've been stung by a bee all over the face. Good preparation for a game.
I have no idea what to make of that. But we've got more ear flicking. Just to make you feel at home, we've got more ear flicking coming up later on. So the Paddy Power Challenge this week, you have to identify a footballer. They've played with either you, John, or with you, Wayne. And we're going to show you the crests of the teams that they've played for throughout their career. You can come in at any stage. Either of you can answer. If it's the wrong answer, though, you're frozen out for the rest of the round. To alert our attention, Wayne, you're going to use what?
My little bell.
And John?
Big gong.
You got a little bell?
I don't know why they've allocated that way around.
Yeah.
I wasn't told. So these are clubs they've played at permanently. No loan clubs in this, just permanent signings. So let's take a look. For the first player, hands on your bell, hands on your gong. Go on.
Oh, no, it could be
so the badges
Lampard.
that came up. So the badges that came up were West Ham, Chelsea, and you rang your bell after Chelsea.
Who were you
then
gonna say?
Manchester City came up.
I was going to say Joe Cole.
So what did we do?
He's got it.
Well,
No,
I
he's
got
got
it,
it.
didn't I?
I definitely would go in New York.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you
1-0.
got it.
Yeah,
You
he
got
would
it.
have got it.
too.
He's got it.
But you got it, Matteo.
I won't get another one. Just
you
let
can
me
have
have
that point,
it.
but there's no more let-offs.
If any
That's
flicks
it.
come in later on, someone's getting it. Someone's getting it with this.
Right. Next player played at Plymouth,
No chance.
Brighton,
Yeah, I've got it.
and
I've got it.
Burnley. We have
Ashley
to.
Barnes. Ashley Barnes! Yes! Isn't it?
No.
John got it.
I know.
But
Soon
just
as
in
he
the end.
I didn't
told
ring-
a
I
few
didn't ring the
stories
gong.
about Barnsley. And when he said, I've got it, I went, yes! Ashley Barnes' story is basically we were playing, actually I don't know who we were playing, but he got booked for a yellow card. Barnes, he's got a bit of a short temper sometimes, I feel. And straight after he got booked, the ref run off, so he just tripped him up and got a second yellow and sent
I
him
remember
off.
that as well.
It's brilliant.
That's brilliant. I like that.
I wish the ref just laughed and run it off, but he never.
But he didn't send him off.
Next player played at Arsenal, Chelsea,
Got it.
Roma. Go on then.
Ashley Cole.
Is
How have I not got that?
correct.
I think he's gone from Arsenal to
2-1.
Chelsea. How have I
Get
not got
in.
that? Took
2-1.
my place.
I haven't got any stories about Ashley Cole.
Right. Next player, Manchester City,
I don't even know what that
Sheffield
is.
Wednesday. It's the Owl. Stoke, Villa, and Hearts. Yes,
It's Glenn Whelan.
it is
It's Glenn
Whelan.
Yeah, he went to Man City as a young lad. He was at Man City as a young lad because I played against him. Who was the next one? Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Then
And
Stoke, Villa,
There you go.
Hearts.
2-2. You would have never
back
got
in
that
the
one,
game.
would you?
Blown up.
He's just gone to Hearts now.
Right, next player. Started at Arsenal. Look, it's right up in the corner. There's plenty here. Reading.
I was in first. Definitely in first. City.
It is correct.
Hang on,
Steve said
there's a lot more clubs coming there.
Arsenal, Reading, Chelsea, Villa, Fulham, Stoke, and Brighton.
To be fair, I've got a lot more clubs in it, so I can't say anything.
There he is. Steve
The
says, well,
veteran.
he is. Next player then, played at Aston Villa, Manchester City. Go on, Wayne.
Gareth Barry.
Is correct. Everton and
flames,
West
didn't I?
Brom.
It's a 4-2 as well.
The little bell.
Little bell serves you well. Next player, played at West Ham, Chelsea.
Just going Joe Cole.
It's correct. It's Joe Cole. When you said it earlier with Frank Lampard, I was like Liverpool, West Ham, Aston Villa,
The first three could have been Glenn Johnson,
Coventry,
couldn't it?
and the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Could have been.
Could have been Glenn Johnson.
There you go. But it
5-2.
wasn't.
I've got no
Just
chance
went
here.
for it.
But
Yeah,
it
you sort of
wasn't.
go for it.
It's just pride now. You're just playing for pride. Win the second half. Next player, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Stoke, and Bolton. It's Wayne's in first again.
You haven't got it either. See, I've got a big gong. You just got a little bell.
Petrov.
No.
It's not, is it?
No, you guessed now. It's Petrov. You've
I
got it
think
wrong.
we've been really
Stephen
restrained.
Ireland.
It is Stephen Ireland. It is absolutely Stephen Ireland. I think we've been really restrained with our jokes about the little bell and the big gong. It's just
What's that, 5-3?
it is
I've got a chance here. How many have we got left?
one, so you haven't.
Winner
Just
takes
do it
all now.
anyway.
Winner takes
hell
all.
no.
Right, final player. Just for pride now for you, John, I'm afraid. But, get
Come on.
involved.
Never won a quiz.
The little bells win.
And the big gongs. Right, this player played at Marseille, Chelsea,
I've got no chance here.
Shanghai Shenhua.
Didier Drogba! Get in!
Correct
That's someone else!
answer. Galatasaray, Chelsea again, Montreal Impact, and Phoenix Rising. It is Didier Drogba, and we already knew it, but you've confirmed it. You finished in style, and you are the winner.
I've never won a quiz before.
That's a low place for me now.
We don't have a full squad of players to come and flick your ear, but we do have 4 of our crew who are going to come and flick your ear. So, first up, is Xander coming in first? Yeah, Xander's coming in from sound.
Don't hold back.
Right, come on.
Come on, Xander.
What
have
ear do you
got?
want, the right or the left?
Xander, we've had lots of chat about technique.
Right-handed, so I come right this way.
Oh, it's rubbish.
You
No
gotta
good.
come
Rubbish, no.
inside
No.
here a
No
little
good.
bit
Who's
more.
up next?
Get
Oh,
in there
Ant.
like that.
Ant's going to come in next. The sub producer Ant.
They call
The
it-
worst one
you got
gets
any
a flip.
form
The
on
worst
this,
one
Ant?
gets a flick back. There you go. No,
That was
no, very
gen-
good either.
I
No,
mean,
no.
you couldn't even hear that one. It's like, we want a little bit.
Come on, Ant.
I tell you what we need.
Thought
Producer,
one of you
right?
at
Jade
least
to
brought
come
like
in.
a stick
Jade's gonna
in
come
to hit him with it.
Oh, hang on a minute. I've just took the
Don't
next.
feel.
That's better than Ants. Oh, here we go. The
here
big
comes
man.
Omar.
Oh, I'll tell you
Omar's
what.
got form in this.
Hey, I can take it. I can take it.
Omar on cameras.
Right, come on now. What have you got? What have you got?
Finger.
Yeah.
Oh,
It sounded all right.
No.
No. No.
Do you
come
know
on.
what, Omar? There's no way he'd show you if that hurt him at all. He's just got his game
See,
face
there's
on.
a technique, right? You've got to go from inside,
You're all right.
and you've got to get your finger inside the ear. That's what you've got to do.
So you
wanna
don't
flick
go
it
from
in
behind.
it.
No.
You've got to go from the
You've got to go from
Give it a little-
inside.
Do you want to get everybody in
Follow
again?
through.
Next week.
Next week, you've already got £250 from Paddy Power for your chosen charity, which is...
Mind charity, because I went with Mind last time and we never won them any money, so I'm going to go.
So you
go
have,
again.
yes, the £250 bet. Could you be the first person to win their bet on the
Hope so.
whole history of the Paddy Power Challenge? What are you going to go for?
Same charity, same team, Norwich.
Okay.
Doing well, so hopefully they won't let me down this time.
Burnley this weekend?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're doing well though.
Not a bad shout. This is Liquid Football on Joe, together with Paddy Power and Kelly Cates, and alongside me, John Walters and Wayne Bridge. If you like what you see and you hear, please leave us a nice review on YouTube or iTunes. And in the latest episode of TKO with Carl Frampton, Chris Lloyd visited Deer Lake and the newly refurbished former training camp of Muhammad Ali. While there, he spoke to David Krause, who was the Borough Council president, and he used to ride his bike up to watch Ali train in the 70s. And he revealed that he witnessed the birth of the tactic known as rope-a-dope.
But I guess the amazing thing now is when you think how secretive sparring sessions are amongst the main sort of protagonists in the sport. As a member of the public, you couldn't go in and watch Canelo Alvarez spar. Right. You couldn't go and watch, Anthony Joshua spar. But in those days, he would openly invite members of the public to come and sit in and watch.
Oh yeah.
Which is it seems so strange now.
I think the rope-a-dope. I was interviewed about this quite a few years ago. And we didn't know it was a rope-a-dope, but I remember them playing with the ropes, size of the ring, looseness of the rope.
Yeah, so he could...
So that he could lean and get back. All of that stuff was negotiated before these fights of what they would agree to. And I remember the reporter saying, so you, at the age of what, knew about the rope-a-dope before it was even
a thing, yeah.
known the rope-a-dope? I said, yeah, we didn't know it was called that, but and after this all happened, it's like, that's what they were doing up there. They were playing with the ropes, making it so that he could lean back, because he was so fast, he could lean back and get away from these punches, tire the guy out,
Because he was tough to the body, but obviously with the heavy-handedness of George Foreman, he needed to make sure that he could ride those shots upstairs. And that's what he did, and it was what was the 8th round in Zaire, where he landed that flurry of punches, having not done very much.
He was tired, and he knew this is the moment he'd go after him. You're tired, now I'm rested because you've missed most of those fights, you know. And he would time that out for maybe 1 or 2 rounds. If you watch a lot of his fights, he did that a lot, you know. In his fights, you'd see him covering up and saying, "Come on, you know." And tire someone out, and he would know by the sting of the punch, he's starting to get tired, you know, and then he would come after him.
Plenty more from Muhammad Ali's former training camp on TKO with Carl Frampton. You can watch it on YouTube or you can download it from your usual podcast provider. Don't forget to check out Joe's other shows, Swanee's Cricket Show, of course, and House of Rugby with James Haskell. Right, Wilfred Zaha has reportedly moved away from his agent after failing to secure a summer move from Crystal Palace. Does that happen a lot? Players don't get what they want and they change their representatives?
Maybe it's get what you want. And some players might be like that. I just think you've got to have a relationship with your manager that you trust them for a start.
think it's changing now. I think a lot of people are moving around as if the agents... if you're a good player, you're a good player. I think you're going to get a move, aren't you? So I don't think the agents...
He just hasn't got the move he wants.
And you blame going back to players blaming that you blame the agent for it.
Doesn't it seem like there's a lot more agents around now, though?
Yeah. They relaxed the rules, didn't they? So anyone can, parents and brothers and sisters and anyone can be an agent now. I still think there's only a few good ones I know of players, and the player doesn't know this. It's one of my friends, but I knew when he moved to a club, only because I knew someone at the club. His agent went in and said, "Here's my fee," and it was £1 million.
Didn't say I'll get the player to sign for this if you give me this.
No, I'm not even discussing the player's terms until you meet my fee, and that was what an agent went in and said.
And
I haven't told that. That's a friend,
happens.
yeah. That's
So
a friend.
you told your friend?
I haven't told him, no, because it's not my place to go and cause. I didn't tell him.
Do you not want someone to tell you?
He got a move. He got his move. He's probably on good money. I don't know what he's on. He's beyond good money, and probably got the move he wanted. But an agent went in and said that to begin with. And that's not looking after the player for me. If you're an agent, first thing is players first. And if the player's good and you're looking after them properly, then I think it's a percentage, is it? You get few percent off the player's contract, maybe 2%, 3%. Some might be more, some might have a set fee. But it's such a murky world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your phone's going to be pinging after this. Was it me? Was it me?
But yeah, mine was like I said, Paul Warhurst. He looked after a few players that I've played with, and he only has 4 or 5 players, and he's a good guy, really good guy.
Did you change agent? Because your career has sort of changed as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've gone into the celeb world.
Well, apparently. I'm not a celeb. I hate that word.
It's different, isn't it? Yeah.
No, I changed agents when I was at Chelsea. And same with you, it's just trust. As soon as you find out that they're looking after their sales first and then sorting out your contract, or there was a scenario when I think Ashley came in and all that saga that went on, and apparently they didn't meet with Chelsea, and that's what I got told. And then you end up finding out, well, you did actually meet, so why weren't you just honest with me? I think you've got to have an agent which becomes like your family a little bit. So like my agent now is like probably one of my best friends, and yeah, I just trust him. So it is the most important thing.
So when you're a young player, how do you find an agent? Do they come to you?
I wanted to be an agent when I finished, because I was a bit like, I feel like I would maybe give them a little more guidance, because sometimes you might finish your career and you're done. They're not bother you. They're on to the next player, and stuff
Paul's
like that.
asked me to do we've always said, come and I'll show you what to do. And I was like, look, if I'll have 3 players max, and I just want to look after them, because I've looked after I've never trusted anyone really. Like financially, I do everything myself, and I'd say I'd know how to look after someone to not get ripped off, because players get ripped off, don't they? Left, right, and centre for everything, whatever walk of life, any work on anything. As soon as someone knows, you do get ripped off, and that's just it. So that's why probably players find it hard to trust as well.
But knowing who's trustworthy and who isn't, how does that happen? Is that word of mouth? Is it, do you go with someone that your mate was with, or is it
me was just older players telling me this agent, and when you've not got an agent,
it's hard,
and you're like 15 or 16, you can't make that decision. I don't think.
No.
But that's when I say it's
It's
murky
so
world
hard.
because
you're earning
Yeah.
so young.
Yeah.
that
I've
you do need
talked to a
somebody who's
couple of
gonna go
players,
in
and I think to myself, like, come here or go there. But like half time, you feel like it goes in one ear and out the other, and it's probably because they're so young and someone else gets into them at a younger age.
There's agents picking up players at 12, 13 now, and there's money for say the parents might come from a working class background, and a lot of footballers do. So they get money, and they'll give them money to have their son for 2 years. And I know that happened last year to play in the Premier League. A young player coming through, and he gave the parents money so he could sign the player, and the player obviously trusts the parents, and the parents might not have come from anything or pays off their mortgage, and that happens a lot. And that's where agents will have 50 players, and you're very lucky if you have one that goes through. So for the 49 out of 50 that don't, they'll just get pushed to the side. But
they're making enough money off the successful ones.
But during that time, they would have been fed all sorts by their agents. A lot of players listen to their agents rather than just trust maybe a senior pro at a club or something else. I don't know. Managers hate agents as well, don't they? Managers always going on about agents.
The other player who has been in the news this week is Burnley midfielder Danny Drinkwater, because he's currently out of action because he sustained ankle ligament damage in a nightclub fight. We shouldn't cover the case specifically. However, how easy is it to get yourself involved in I mean, it's easy for any guy, I'd imagine, if they want to go out and find a fight, they can do it. But as a footballer, how easy is it to get involved in that kind of situation? Or how much of a hazard is it?
I think I get it when I'm walking down the street sometimes, and there might be 8 guys together.
It's never one, is it? It's never one.
But then it'd be one person showing off in front of his mates.
But just in
and
the
just
street,
shout you
like
a bit
every
of
day.
abuse.
Yeah, it's never one on their own. Yeah.
You have just got to laugh it off and walk away.
Yeah.
I think if you react to it, it's just going to expire into something else. I've had it. I don't mind if I'm on my own. I laugh it and walk it off. But if I'm with my family, I think that's the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
Someone's got the nerve to do it in front of your family. I just think it's too much.
Yeah.
I think we were chatting to a group of guys once, and all friendly, everything was nice. And as I walked off, they decided to start shouting stuff, and it was like, I was just smiled for us. My mate was like, "Just been nice and friendly, chatted, and now they're giving you stick." But he went and said something, but I just dragged him away because it would just
You've got to
escalate.
be used to it, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're hardened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never one on their own ever. Have I ever seen one person on their own? It's always a group, and normally they had a drink as well. And that's what I never really used to go out.
If you're going out and you go into a bar or a club or things, do players go out that much now?
I never used to go out for that reason because I live near Liverpool. I live on the Wirral, and it was a case of like whenever I went out, there was always someone that had to say something. You know what? It's a game of football. I went out to a pub locally, I think. I haven't been out for a while, and I went out, and there was a group, and I forgot there was a Liverpool match early on. And it's always Liverpool, but I don't mind Liverpool. It was a group of like 10 lads, and I was with my wife, friend, and his partner, and this guy was just singing behind my back, like, "Get out of our pub." Johnny Waters, "Get out of our pub," and I started saying, "Oh, this, that, and this," and he was going on for about 10 minutes, and obviously everyone else could hear it in the pub. And I'm thinking, well, like, what you doing, mate? You've obviously been drinking all day. You're making a show of yourself. And in the end, I turned around. I was like, "Listen, mate, what's your fucking problem?" And then my wife's like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" And it's like, then his mates got involved and dragged him away. I was like, "Why didn't you do that 10 minutes ago?"
Yeah,
like, he's obviously making a show of himself. Had too much to drink. But that's why I'd never go out. I think you're always a target, aren't you? You're always a target. And it's a shame, really, because I don't mind interacting with fans. I never did. Just get a few idiots, and it's only one idiot that ruins it for everyone else.
So
I think a lot of it is you move clubs as well, and the fans don't like. So it's your old club sometimes. So it's difficult to stay away from.
So you're not going to go for a pint in Portsmouth anytime soon.
I'm actually meant to be going down there soon for a 40.
Oh yeah.
Private party.
Fancy dress.
Full mask, everything.
Outfit. Christmas night out, like all the lads are always excited. So it was like, I was always saying, "Oh, come to Liverpool." So I was thinking, I don't have to stay. I can just go home. It's easy for me. There's no night out. So it was all right. So everyone came to Liverpool, and me and Rob Hoof went to the toilet. But we had the private part of the bar, so it was only us, and it was only in our toilet. And we were in there, and Rob Hoof is just at the cubicle,
Yeah.
relieving himself. Not that way.
Oh, Jesus.
I was going to
He's taking a turn.
landed him right in it.
But
You didn't need to tell us what he was doing in there at all. You didn't need to say anything.
He's going to the toilet, and then someone comes in behind him and starts hitting him. So Rob,
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. So I'm washing my hands,
He's a
and I
big lad as
turn
well,
round,
Hoofy.
and Rob looks down at this guy as this lad's hitting him. So he must have hit off 3 or 4 punches at him. And Rob's just turned round and gone, "What are you doing?" Like that. Looked at him. This guy doesn't know what to do because Rob just stood there, not a bother on him. And then security just ran in, grabbed the guy out, and threw him out. I was thinking, like, where's that come from? And then, so that was Rob's impression of Liverpool.
Yeah.
He's like, everyone always fighting in Liverpool. Like, what's this all about? And then he came to my 30th party in Liverpool, and we like hired like an apartment. Like my wife did it, and we had like 50 people in there. So it was like food and drinks. It was just all us, and then we went to a club. But that's when you're out in the open then. So within 10 minutes in this club, a vodka bottle got thrown across, hit someone. Like we were just in the middle of it, and it was I think it was two gangs fighting. So a vodka got a bottle thrown across, hit someone. The bouncers crapped themselves, didn't do anything. The lights came on, whole club got shut down. Music went off, and we're just in the middle. It's all kicking off. So we just 50 of us have just all sort of just gone out. And that was Rob's impression of Liverpool was 2 fights have happened in Liverpool. The next time he came, he went to Bongo's Bingo. He lost his wallet, and he's like, "You've nicked my wallet."
But did he win anything? That's the thing.
No,
did he go home
so.
with
If you win, you got to go
like
up
a
on stage,
toasty machine or something under his arm?
So he's like, "I'm never going to Liverpool again." But that's like nights out. It's you always a target.
They all sound like good nights out.
You're great
The
nights.
manager dreads the nights out with the lads, especially when you're all together. Christmas parties, they hate it.
Yeah.
You always get a warning before.
No trouble.
Is the warning about? But that's what I was
something
gonna
always
say.
seems
Is
to
the
happen.
warning about look after
I think
yourself, like in
looking out
terms of
for each
drinking and
other
stuff,
more
or
than
is it more
anything,
about
to be
trouble?
honest.
Is
Just
it
don't
more-
get in trouble, yeah.
Don't let a story come back
Yeah.
on the club. I think it is. It's like, have a good night, do whatever you want. Not do whatever you want. Have a good night. Just don't let there be a story come Monday morning about what's happened. Don't let there be anything bad that's happened and something to come back on the club, because it'll look bad on the manager. And because camera phones now,
Yeah.
from 10 years ago, from what's happened, anything. As soon as there's an incident, everyone has their phones out, don't they? So.
Have you seen the Carlo Ancelotti video? So in the he's not in a fight. In the last, he's complained about the state of the dressing rooms because he's the Napoli boss, and they've been having sort of refurbishment all over the summer. And Ancelotti's gone on and he says, "Oh, you can build a house in 2 months and they can't just refurbish the dressing rooms. Where are we going to change against Sampdoria and Liverpool? They're not ready for them. They're it's not ready on time. They're going to have to go in and change them." But what's the worst dressing room you've ever been in?
I've been in some bad ones. I've played lower league, so I've been in some really bad ones, like Boston away and Lincoln.
I'll just go with Pompey.
Anything.
I was just had to sit
That
in
was
that
just
changing
after you
for an
left
hour
it.
and a half.
any old League 2, League 1.
Yeah.
They're all old school grounds. Even like Everton away is a
Yeah,
poor
it's
changing
the
room.
cup games when you go and the dressing rooms are all tight and
All tight, but I quite like that. I didn't mind that, where it was other lads, big signings, who'd come to games and they'd be like, "Oh my God." You play someone in the cup games are normally a leveller, and it's a mentality. And if I was a manager, and it happened to me plenty of times, I'll either have it freezing cold or turn the heating right up, so everyone so it's like a sauna in there.
some teams definitely just turn the heating up.
Or the showers. The showers
yeah.
will either have them, so they're either boiling hot water coming out of the showers, and that's what it was. You used to try and get a shower, and it'd be like someone pouring a kettle on you. Or freezing cold, so lads didn't want to get in. You always knew before you went to that ground, you'd be like, "Oh, it's that changing room again, isn't it?" And you knew before you went.
So it's part of the build up to, because Wimbledon famously did it, didn't they? They were the ones who used to, and they put like really like loud music into the changing room and leave things a mess and do all that kind of thing, just to start getting into people's heads as early as possible.
That's what I said about it. Like, no, that's what you do, and I never understand when the clubs would do up the away changing room. Like, leave it as it is. Leave it terrible, so no one wants to come in sitting there, because
being at Chelsea and Man City, you'd have a locker, your own little space, plugging everything.
Chelsea would have like the
leave your
molten
phone
brown
chargers.
shower gel. The lads be trying to take that. Honestly.
But then some you go to and it'd just be like a little square room with a couple of benches. You just be sat there like
Be
that.
mouldy, damp.
Don't get comfortable,
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah.
Just no
Yeah,
room.
honestly, yeah. Like lower league, I think it's changed now. You get the odd team, I think, coming up to the Championship, but lower leagues, that's like your standard. And I used to enjoy going to those ones, and even. But you know the players that didn't fancy it, go in the change room and be like, oh, what is this? Like,
But you look at them, when you did Football Focus with Dan Walker and he got really excited about, was it like a touch-closed cabinet or something like that? He got really giddy about it.
The doors opened and then they folded back in.
Yeah, that was it.
But it was a Howard Wilkinson. Did he have Leeds or Sheffield? It must have been Leeds. He designed that changing room so the players had a square and the manager couldn't have a team talk and talk to all the players. I think it was Howard Wilkinson. It was somewhat. There was a manager
So
that
the away
did it.
dressing room
The away
was
dressing room designed it, and that's what you're going back 40 years, 30 years, where he couldn't have a team talk and see all the players, and it was a tactical thing. And going back then, so it does go on.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I like that story.
But I loved it. Yeah, I loved the old school changing rooms. It was like back to an old like Everton.
Not if you were
to an
doing it
old
every
standard
week,
ground.
maybe.
Quite like
You like
nice
it as a
changing
novelty.
They do it every
Quite like a nice changing room, nice shower.
But you're talking about refurbishing one. Like, you can buy a player for 20 million, but you can't refurbish a change room over the course of a summer. It's like, don't know what's
They
going
never
on
do
there.
up the away one really either. Chelsea's was alright, but it was never as nice as the home one
Oh, it's
either.
brilliant, Chelsea away.
Not as good as the home one though. But yeah, it's not bad.
NFL changing rooms, there's one. NFL changing room. So we played for Ireland, we played Portugal, and it was in New Jersey. And the changing room there was like half the size of a pitch. It was a length.
That's how we got Chelsea designed theirs, and there's a lot of the stuff.
It was all AstroTurf.
rehabilitation
Imagine the
stuff.
Spurs ones are like that at the
can
new
imagine
stadium,
they're
aren't they?
even
Because they've
better
got
now.
that NFL
Ridiculous.
partnership.
Yeah, it was absolutely. It was you couldn't see the manager down the other end of the which was a good thing half the time. But down the other end of the changing room, it was brilliant. It was
See, Howard
massive.
Wilkinson thought that was a bad thing. Well, you needed one of those NFL style one. Champions League is back this week with Paddy Power odds, outright winners: Man City 16-5, Barcelona and Liverpool 11-2, Real Madrid 8-1. Bayern Munich and PSG 10-1, Juventus 12-1. Did you used to like it? If you weren't involved, would you be watching it?
I was never involved.
Oh, yeah, I was on the bench. I was sat on the bench watching.
That was the way that one.
Just sat in the stand
I was watching,
watching.
but from the bench.
yeah, basically. I loved it. I loved the midweek game. I prefer night games.
There's something about Champions League games, isn't there?
Yeah, and you warm up on the pitch as well, which is nice. That's when a lot of the ear flicking games come out the night before. I just loved it. I thought the atmosphere
because the
was
away
brilliant.
games you go and train on their pitch, don't
train
you?
on their pitch. That's when we all played the keep you up game and flicking ears for the losers. I loved it. I loved
See, this
playing
is
at
why
night.
training sessions are closed.
And the pitches were always great. I loved it when I actually got on the pitch.
Yeah. You're a big Champions League fan.
Yeah, I
aren't
never
you?
played.
I
love the build up to it, or
Yeah.
the music,
Yeah.
isn't it? And that music, and it's known for it.
I liked it, but sitting in the stand or on the bench is never nice.
So that was like an international one. You always warm up, or Europa League did. So you always warm up, and it's something different. And the media build up's always huge, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's worldwide, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's massive. And when you said the closed training sessions, they're not always closed. There's always a sneaky camera from the
they're
away team, like watching what's going on, guaranteed as well.
Yeah. Full Marcelo Bielsa.
It's a lot that
Or
goes.
coming
There's
and
a lot that goes on.
having a little look right. I can't believe you're talking about sitting in the stands in Champions League games. Probably your best Chelsea moment was in a Champions League match.
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
it?
it was. I had some great moments. I think just towards the end of my career, obviously with Ashley signed and everything, there was a lot of times I got left out. But yeah, there's
What
been
was that?
great
What's
memories.
the best moment?
Scoring against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't score many, do I?
What was the score?
2-1.
You won.
But that was one of them as well. I celebrated with the fans, but we came back after the goal, basically get set up.
Yeah.
I kept getting the ball and just smashing it. And because there was only a few minutes left, and Frank was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Calm down, they've got to score 2 goals." I was like, I didn't even know. I just kept smashing the ball. That's one of my best moments, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. That's it for this episode of Liquid Football on Joe, together with Paddy Power. You can download the podcast or you can watch us on YouTube. Please leave a nice review on iTunes if you like what you hear. We've also got a Facebook page. If you search for Liquid Football, you can get involved with the chat on there as well. And remember to check out our other shows, House of Rugby with James Haskell, TKO with Carl Frampton, and Swanee's Cricket Show. For now, though, thanks for listening.
You've been watching Liquid Football on Joe, sponsored by Paddy Power.